Good day to you all. Namaste and welcome to the start of our Indian month. Now, if you saw my short introductory video to this month's plans, you'll already know that the main focus is on what we generally call a British Indian restaurant curry. Now, that may or may not have anything to do with the curries you get in India, but also more importantly, it's not only about India. In fact, most of the British Indian restaurants were set up originally by Bangladeshis in the UK, and almost all the recipes and the dishes that you would find in a typical curry restaurant are inspired, in fact, by dishes from all over the Indian subcontinent, whether Bangladesh, Pakistan, even up to Nepal, as well, of course, as India itself. So I make no apology for the fact that what we're trying to do this month, and particularly today, is recreate the taste, the flavour, the aroma that you would get when you walk into your local Tooting Taj Mahal or Bombay Brasserie in the UK. And what we're going to make today is the most important ingredient within the curry family, and that is the curry base, which is then used in a restaurant or indeed at home to create all the long list of dishes which you would find in an Indian restaurant. So there are a lot of ingredients coming up, don't panic. Okay, so we do have a lot of ingredients today, but having said that, there are three things which can make life easier. The first is that not all of these items are absolutely essential. Some you can leave out. The second is that this base can be used, as I said earlier, to make many different types of curry. And once you've made a batch, you can portion it out and freeze it, so you don't have to do it every time you want a curry. And the third thing, of course, is you can buy jars of curry paste, which will cover most of the spices and a few of the other flavourings we're going to use today. So it can be made, life can be made a bit easier. But what do we have? The first thing to say is we have onions, loads of onions. I've got a kilo of onions here, and that's 75% of the dish by weight. But then we also have a potato, a carrot, some cabbage, some red pepper, some garlic, some fresh ginger, a chili, and some fresh coriander. We also have oil, tinned tomatoes, tomato puree. Then we have, this is coconut cream you can buy in packs in the supermarket. Then some red lentils. Now these are dried fenugreek leaves, not quite so easy to get, but if you can't get them, don't worry, it's not the end of the world. And also some condensed milk. This is a Spanish squeezy one, but you put a tin of carnation, a small tin of carnation will do just as well. And then we have all our spices, which I won't name individually now, we'll do that when we get into the preparation stage of it. So that's our starting place. So today we're going to need a chopping board, a knife, a wooden spoon, 2 saucepans, one large, one small, a sieve, a jug, and a blender. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is make up some stock. Now you could use just a vegetable or a chicken stock cube, or you could just use plain water, but then you would miss out on all these wonderful spices which we're going to infuse into the stock, which give the curry that depth of flavour. Because one thing you notice about curry, there are so many ingredients, but you can't actually identify the individual ingredients because they all come together in this wonderful way. So what we're going to do, we're going to take 1 bay leaf, 1 stick of cinnamon, 1 star anise, some cloves, some cardamom seeds, And then we're going to add a teaspoon of coriander seeds, a teaspoon of cumin seeds, a teaspoon of aniseed seeds, and some black or brown mustard seeds. And all we're going to do then is add about half a litre of water into the pan, and I'm just now going to simmer that gently for about half an hour, and then turn off the heat, let it cool down for half an hour, and then once it's cooled down after about half an hour, then I'm just going to strain the mixture through a sieve, get rid of all the seeds, and keep the juice in a jug set aside to use when we come to make the main curry base. Okay, so now we're going to prepare our vegetables. Now the good thing here is that these are going to be cooked for a long time, and even after that they're going to get blended, so it means we don't have to chop them into small pieces. So with the onions, I've literally just cut them in half and put them into the saucepan. Then I've got my garlic and ginger and peppers and cabbage and carrots and chilies. They all just go straight in like that. Then we add our tin of tomatoes. A splurge of tomato puree. Some condensed milk. And we have our cream of coconut. Add in. Our oil. Our lentils. So the lentils are primarily for texture, and so is the potato we mentioned before, and really again it doesn't need to be cut up finely, just into quarters like that. Throw it all in, give that a mix around, and basically it almost looks like a vegetable casserole. Then we just get some cold water and fill it. You're more or less trying to cover most of it. You don't have to. Okay, so let's take a deep breath. What we need is a kilo of onions halved, half a carrot sliced, half a red pepper chopped, 1 green chilli sliced, half a potato, you can leave the skin on, up to you, 100 grams of sliced cabbage, 50 grams of garlic peeled, but you don't need to chop it, 50 grams of fresh ginger peeled and sliced, 50 grams of red lentils, 30 grams of fresh coriander, then you can leave the stalks on, 1 tin of tomatoes, a tablespoon of tomato puree, 50 grams of creamed coconut, 50 grams of condensed milk, and 100 millilitres of vegetable oil. And now to the spices. So to go into the curry base, we need cumin, coriander, turmeric, paprika, garam masala, chili powder, salt, and then if you have them or can get them, amchur powder and some dried fenugreek leaves. Then separately, to make up the stock, we'll be using whole spices. So we need a bay leaf, 3 cloves, 4 cardamom pods, a cinnamon stick, a half a star anise, a teaspoon of cumin seeds, a teaspoon of coriander seeds, a teaspoon of black or brown mustard seeds, a teaspoon of fennel seeds, and half a litre of water. Okay, so here we have our vegetable mix, which has been bubbling nicely for about half an hour. It already smells quite nice. It's got garlic and ginger and onion, but now we're going to ramp it up seriously with all the other herbs and spices. So we've got coriander, cumin, turmeric, garam masala, paprika, chili powder, amchur powder, and salt. So we're going to add all of those. to the mix. Then we're going to add our dry fenugreek leaves. Then we're going to add our stock that we made earlier with all our spice seeds. And final touch, some fresh coriander. So we push all of that down into the mix. Give it a good stir around. Get all those spices mixed in well with the vegetables. And spread out. And now we're going to let that simmer again for about another half hour. But at this stage, definitely suggest you put the lid on unless you have very sympathetic neighbours. So we'll leave that for about another half an hour to cook. Then we'll come back to it and we'll blend it. Okay, so now we have our spicy vegetable soup, I suppose you'd call it. And what we're going to do now is blend it carefully. And it quotes down all the onions and garlic and ginger and peppers. And this will take a little while, if we just stop for a second, because you do want it really smooth. So you might find if you've got an upright blender, you might find that easier. With my stick blender here, this is going to take me a little while, but I'll carry on working on it. And then once it's blended, then I'm going to put it back on the stove for about another half an hour until essentially it's sort of the consistency of cream, thick cream, or tin tomato soup if you prefer. If it's looking a bit too thick, just add a little bit of water. If it's looking too thin, just cook it for a little bit longer so that it reduces a little further. And then basically you have your chicken base ready to use. Be back shortly. Hey, so here we have our finished curry base. And as you can see, actually it's quite thick. I might even add a little bit more water to that. That's ready now to go either straight into a curry or into the freezer to save for another day. But this is going to be the base for all the other curries, and next week I'll show you one of them.